Maya's hands trembled as she smoothed down the borrowed dress that hung loosely on her thin frame. Standing outside the gleaming restaurant, she felt like a fraud wrapped in silk. The designer heels pinched her feet, and the expensive perfume her sister had sprayed on her felt suffocating. She didn't belong here among the crystal chandeliers and marble floors, but desperation had brought her to this memento, a moment that would change everything she thought she knew about love, sacrifice, and her own worth. 3 hours earlier, Maya had been scrubbing floors at the office building where she worked nights to pay for her mother's medication. Her phone buzzed with her sister Lily's panicked voice. "Maya, you have to help me. I double-booked tonight. There's this blind date Dad set up with some CEO, but I have a chance to audition for that modeling agency. This could be my big break." Maya had wanted to refuse. She always did when Lily asked her to cover, to lie, to sacrifice something of her own. But then Lily mentioned the man's name, David Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, and Maya's blood ran cold. Her mother needed surgery that insurance wouldn't cover, and Chen Industries was the only company that might sponsor the medical program at the local hospital. "Please, Maya, just go, have dinner, make polite conversation. He'll never know the difference. We look similar enough, and you're so much better at talking to serious people anyway." Maya knew they looked nothing alike. Where Lily was polished and confident with perfect makeup and designer clothes, Maya was plain, tired, with calloused hands from cleaning jobs and thrift store outfits. But the hope in her mother's eyes when she talked about the surgery, the way she tried to hide her pain, that was worth any humiliation. Now, standing outside Meridian, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, Maya felt the weight of her deception crushing her chest. She was about to lie to a powerful man, pretend to be someone she wasn't, all for a desperate chance that somehow, someway, this encounter might lead to help for her mother. The Matilda registered deal led her to a private booth where a man sat with his back to her, his dark hair perfectly styled, his suit clearly expensive. When he turned, Maya's breath caught. David Chen was younger than she'd expected, maybe 35, with kind eyes behind stylish glasses and a gentle smile that immediately put her at ease. "Lily?" he asked, standing politely. Maya's throat constricted. "Yes," she whispered, hating herself for the lie. As they settled into conversation, Maya discovered that David wasn't the cold businessman she'd imagined. He asked about her interests, her dreams, and for the first time in years, someone actually listened to her answers. She found herself talking about her love of literature, her volunteer work at the community center, her hope to someday finish college. "You light up when you talk about helping others," David observed, his eyes warm. "That's rare." Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks. "I just think we're all responsible for taking care of each other, you know." "I do know," David said quietly. "More than you might think." The evening flowed naturally, and Maya forgot she was supposed to be pretending. She laughed at David's stories about his 5-year-old daughter Emma's latest adventures, and her heart ached when he spoke about raising her alone after his wife's death 3 years ago. "Emma would like you," he said suddenly. "She has good instincts about people." "I'd love to meet her," Maya replied before she could stop herself. When the dinner ended, David walked her to the street. "I'd like to see you again," he said. "Tomorrow, maybe?" "I could pick you up." "No," Maya said too quickly. "I mean, I'll meet you somewhere." David's eyes narrowed slightly, but he smiled. "Of course." "How about the park on 5th Street? There's a playground there. I usually take Emma on Saturday afternoons." Maya's heart hammered. She couldn't keep this up, but the thought of disappointing this kind man, of losing this connection that felt more real than anything she'd experienced, made her nod. The next day, Maya waited by the playground, wearing her own clothes, a clean but faded dress and comfortable shoes. When David arrived holding the hand of a small girl with pigtails and bright eyes, Maya felt a stab of panic. "Emma, this is Lily," David said. The little girl studied Maya with the intense gaze only children possess. "You look different," she announced. Maya's stomach dropped. "Different how?" "Sadder," Emma said matter-of-factly. "But nicer too." "Daddy, can she push me on the swings?" As Maya pushed Emma higher and higher, the little girl's laughter filling the air, she felt David watching them. When Emma ran off to the slide, he approached Maya. "You're not Lily Chen," he said quietly. Maya's world tilted. "I don't know what you are." "Lily Chen is a model. I've seen her pictures. More importantly, everything you told me last night, your job, your interests, your dreams, and none of that matches the profile your father gave me." His voice wasn't angry, just curious. "So who are you really?" Maya closed her eyes, feeling tears threaten. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm Maya, Lily's sister. She had an audition and begged me to come instead. I know I should have told you, Buta." "But what?" The words poured out of her. They knew about her mother's illness, her desperate hope that meeting him might somehow lead to help, her shame at working cleaning jobs while her sister pursued modeling, her fear that she wasn't good enough for anyone to love her as she was. David listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "Maya," he said finally, "I've been on a lot of dates since my wife died. People trying to impress me with their connections, their looks, their wealth. Last night was the first time in 3 years I felt like I was talking to someone real, someone who cared more about others than themselves." Maya looked up, tears streaming down her face. "I don't care that you're not Lily," David continued. "I care that you're Maya, the woman who works 2 jobs to care for her mother, who volunteers at a community center, who makes my daughter laugh and asks about her favorite books instead of trying to impress her with expensive gifts." "But I lied to you," Maya whispered. "You protected someone you love," David corrected. "There's a difference." Over the following weeks, David courted Maya properly. He met her mother, who adored him instantly. He visited her at the community center and donated funds for their literacy program. He learned about Maya's mother's condition and quietly arranged for the surgery through his company's medical outreach program. "You don't have to do this," Maya protested when she found out. "I want to," David said simply. "I want to take care of you the way you take care of everyone else." The day of her mother's successful surgery, David found Maya crying happy tears in the hospital corridor. "Thank you," she whispered against his chest. "For everything." "Thank you," he replied, "for showing me what real love looks like." 6 months later, at their wedding in the same community center where Maya volunteered, Emma served as flower girl, scattering petals with the same joy she brought to everything. Lily, who had become a successful model but learned humility through watching her sister's example, served as maid of honor. In her vows, Maya spoke about how love wasn't about pretending to be someone else, but about finding someone who cherished exactly who you were, flaws, fears, and all. David spoke about how the best things in life came from unexpected places, from people brave enough to love with their whole hearts despite their circumstances. As they danced to their first song as husband and wife, surrounded by friends from the community center, colleagues from David's company, and family who had learned that worth wasn't measured in dollars or appearances, Maya marveled at the journey that had brought them here. She had walked into that restaurant believing she wasn't enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough, not worthy of love. She left knowing that kindness, authenticity, and the courage to care for others were the most beautiful things a person could possess. Sometimes the greatest love stories begin not with who we pretend to be, but with someone seeing who we truly are and choosing to stay. In Maya's case, It began with a lie that led to the most honest love she'd ever known, a love that proved that the heart recognizes its match not through perfection, but through the perfect imperfection of two souls choosing to build something beautiful together.